GRACE, Good Relations and Collaborative Education, is a relationship-focused 5-stage model of collaboration which builds durable, interdependent relationships, fosters mutual understanding, and increases capacity for meaningful and sustainable sharing within the education sector. Stage 1. Engaging with a single school community. At Stage 1, the GRACE model begins by taking time to value and affirm the single school community. Prior to collaboration, it is first necessary to understand and value one's own school community. This is done through engagement with both teaching and non-teaching staff, pupils, parents, and boards of governors to better understand the unique context, as no two schools or communities are the same. Our Stage 1 case study features Cookstown Primary School, who adopted this approach, viewing it as an important step in order to build ownership and commitment to their shared work with other school communities.
My first experience of working in Cookstown was a young man straight out of university. I arrived in 1990 to a town that was still probably in the depths of the Troubles.
We had a lot of people killed during the Troubles, which has left a bad taste and a scarring, as you would realise.
Cookstown was a very divided town. Housing estates were segregated, schools were segregated.
When I started talking to my staff and to the families and getting to know my governors, it became very clear that there was a lot of baggage and that we couldn't just drive on and make things happen because we thought they should happen. We had to bring people with us, and to do that we started working within our own school to build on the goodwill that was already there and to try and make sure that people were ready to start interacting on what we would call the tougher issues. When we started to actually discuss with staff getting involved with community relations in schools and to look at building the projects that were already in existence, because we had been working with Holy Trinity for over 20 years, it was agreed that we couldn't do it unless we had the staff support. We put together a working group involving governors, parents, teachers, non-teaching staff that actually sat down in a local hotel and started talking through what are the issues, where would we like to go, what are our shared concerns, and lots of different things came up. And the feeling was that we needed to move beyond Protestant Catholic. We needed to look at all the other issues, such as newcomers coming into the town, integrating children with special needs, and looking at all the needs across not just Cookstown Primary but the other primary schools in the town. And we started listening to what staff, parents, governors felt were going to be the challenges. And some of the simplest challenges were a lack of awareness, a lack of knowledge, but then there were the more complex ones where people had lost family members during the Troubles, and we had to move past that and have a willingness to actually explore that and not feel threatened while we were doing it.
When Chris came in and took us through the flags and the symbols, and I can remember one activity where you had to choose a neighbour that you'd want to live beside, and it just threw all your value judgments out the window. And it was very thought-provoking, and that was one of the children's activities. They did encourage the children to think about resilience. They encouraged cohesiveness amongst the staff, which was very important to move forward because we needed everybody on board for something like this to work.
It was, I think, one of the best things for the school that has happened, that actually Chris came in and guided us. Because it's not something we could have done standing alone, so we couldn't have. Number one, we wouldn't know where to start. Any questions or barriers that were in the way, they were fit to help us and guide us through it. We've actually got a policy of good relations now in the school. It doesn't sit on the shelf and gather dust. It's a working policy, and that is a good legacy to be left with any school.
Well, the distance we've come in the last 10 years is phenomenal. We've gone from the children travelling and doing, would you say, projects outside their own schools to actually sharing classrooms with each other. So we've gone from children literally travelling on different buses to a neutral venue to be taught by people who weren't their own teachers, to actually walking back and forth between each other's schools, being taught by the teachers from the schools that are involved, and even having parents along helping. So we're using members of the community, school staff, our own infrastructure and resources to actually give the children an experience that is enriched. It's trying to improve what they're able to do and to let them see that there is a lot of things that we do that are the same, and there's more similarities than differences. The children look forward to meeting with each other. They have strong friends. And because we've now been doing this for a prolonged period of time, we've managed to build up that every child from nursery level right through to primary 7 has the opportunity not just to meet once or twice a year, but to meet regularly throughout the year, to enjoy lessons together, to enjoy social time together, and then to actually celebrate what they're achieving. Collaboration
works really effectively from the children's point of view. They learn together, they have fun together, enjoyment motivates. It works very much from the staff point of view as well, because the lessons that we produce are of a high standard. Each teacher brings their own expertise and we can share resources. Probably the 3 key features of success, I would say, first of all, the support of organisations like CRIS. Because they were always at the end of a phone if we had a problem. The support of the leadership in the schools and your Board of Governors was also very important. And the personality probably of the teachers that were involved.
I suppose if you want to add a final thing in, it was building of friendships and relationships. Because if we didn't develop what initially started out as acquaintances into friendships and relationships, then we'd never have gained the trust, because that was probably the biggest area that we had to work on, to trust each other.
Cookstown Primary School would have not have been progressive in good relations without actually CRIS being involved. It's a job in motion, it's not finished, there's a lot of work still to be done, but they've given us the tools to progress on and a beginning to it, and we're quality for everyone.